Well, Lieutenant Governor, Coach Tressel, big game, no question about it. Ohio State at Washington. As you look at Ohio State right now, how good is this football team, and do we know?
I'm probably the last one that would know. Last year, I got a chance to see him at practice every other week or so, and you could just see the growth, and you could see uh, you know, growth doesn't just happen with your team; it happens with your staff. It happens with and so you could just kind of see things flowing. Um, I've been, I think, at one practice so far this year. Obviously, it's a great looking group of kids. Um, Staff is doing a great job. I had a chance to visit with Matt Patricia a little bit. Very impressive young man. I hadn't known him. I knew of him, of course. I wouldn't know how we're progressing. That's what will be great about this weekend because we've been to Washington before, and that place, if you allow it, you know, uh, can be a 12th man. That stadium, it's loud, and so this will be a great test for us. And I think with anytime you're trying to mesh a new group together, which we've got a lot of new faces on the staff and on the team. This will be a great test for us. You need tested. It doesn't help you when you're not tested, and so this will be a good test
For a rookie quarterback, and you worked with quarterbacks your whole career. What do you think Ryan's most concerned about with Julian saying going into this venue, and it's the first road game he's ever going to start?
Yeah, I don't know that. Ryan isn't one of those guys that uh, gets concerned. He's just a focused guy, and he wants to see growth. And you can't have growth until you have experiences. And I think I would have to bet that Ryan's sitting there thinking, this is going to be great for this young man. It's going to be loud. It's going to be away from home. Uh, it's going to be against a solid football team, and he needs this. He needs this experience. So I just think, like any coach at this stage of the season, you just want to continue to progress, see if you can stay healthy, see if you can have young people grow, see if you can see your leadership growing, because it's a different leadership group. We lost a lot of great leaders. And that's why you have a season. And that's the beauty of the playoff format is, back in the day when you had to be in the top two and all that, it was a little different mindset by the kids and fans and everybody else. But now I think everyone understands that what's important is by the end of November, are you one of the 12 best teams, and are you getting better, and are you staying healthy? And this is just part of that long road.
You took a team in there, and as a matter of fact, a couple of your players that are now coaching on the staff played big. James Laurinaitis, Brian Hartline. Uh, what is it like? Coach Day was saying, he's done his reconnaissance. He knows he's walking into a tough venue. He's excited to see it. What do you remember about it, and how tough of a place is it to play?
I always felt that my guys loved those tough, loud environments. They looked forward to going to Wisconsin and Penn State in a whiteout and Michigan, with 100 and some thousand. I think that helps your preparation and your focus in the course of the game because you feel it. You feel that energy. That energy, if you let it, it can help you just like it can help the home team. And so I think Ryan is anxious to have his folks feel that kind of energy. And it's a different kind of loud because of that metal roof, and it's a different loud. But I think it'll be a tremendously valuable weekend for us. And, being on the road and long trip and got to fight through a lot of things. I was glad to see he went out on Thursday. I always felt that if we go out on Friday, it's just a hurry to get adjusted. And I always enjoyed, even when we were in the playoffs at YSU and we'd go out and play Eastern Washington or we'd go out and play Montana, those kind of things. I always liked the fact if we just got out there a little bit earlier and just got comfortable.
Is there any better feeling going into a hostile venue? And, Woody Hayes used to say, it was respect that when the Buckeyes come in,
Mhm.
they hate us. And that's respect. Now let's go make the fans sit on their hands. Is there any better feeling when you go into a place like that and you did it, silence the fans?
That is a good feeling because you feel the energy in the place, and there's a certain something that if you can take control of that energy, and then you can disappoint them. And whenever you go into one of these situations, it's good for both teams because Washington's excited. They got the national champions playing in their stadium, and this is exciting for us because now we're outnumbered. You need some of those moments where you're outnumbered, you're in hostile territory. Uh, there's growth to that as well. And you'll see some young players progress and, take a step up in trying to become the best that they can be.
You forgot more about football than we'll know. As you look at the quarterback, Julian saying, just what do you like about him, and why do you think this kid has it and can do it?
The little bit that I've seen him, and I haven't seen every game, I haven't been at practice as much, but to me, he has a little bit of a calm about him, a little bit of a workman-like. Um, he's, uh, he doesn't have that. Uh, he will develop a swagger, but what's I think is pretty cool about him is he looks to me like he wants to go out and earn that swagger. He wants to show that he can be the next in the long line of Ryan Day extraordinary quarterbacks and so just I like his humble workmanlike approach to the game.
How weird does this feel, Coop? I mean, Coach, that we're opening Big Ten play on the road at Washington.
Yeah, that's that is an interesting thing. It's just like all the excitement around the Big Ten. It's Ohio State, Washington, and Oregon, Penn State. Like what? Uh, but the only thing constant is change. And we back in the old days, we were called the Western Conference prior to the Big Ten. So that was 100 years ago. So now I guess we're back to being part of the Western Conference.
Last thing I asked Coach Meyer, as you look at this game and you know the game of football. What are the keys for Ohio State to get out of there with a victory in your mind?
We always felt when you're going on the road in a Big Ten game, because every Big Ten game is hostile. I mean, I don't care. You remember Iowa, that was a hard place. Wisconsin, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State in its own way. We always felt in a Big Ten road game that we had to have extraordinary road focus because we weren't in the comfort of our normal situation. The surroundings weren't the same. And that we had to make sure that we had superior special teams because the biggest way to let a hostile environment get more hostile and gain energy and so forth is on those special teams, whether it be a block punt, block field goal, punt return, kickoff return. Those things electrify places. And so you cannot allow, any of that to go in their direction. And the quickest way to quiet a group is to have an extraordinary special teams play. And so we always felt we needed to have superior special units on the road, that our defense had to be relentless because offensively, when you're at home, you're always feeling comfortable enough to keep pitching it and keep going. And so you've got to be relentless on defense and understand that you're going to have to do that for the duration. And then on offense, we had to make sure that every opportunity we had, we took advantage of it. And, because that quiets the group and that takes over the flow of the game. And also, we have to be mistake free. You can't give the home team, the home crowd, the advantage of handing them something and putting your defense in a bad position. So those were the things we talked a lot about, and I think those will be the keys. Regardless of what plays you call, what style of offense, defense, whatever, your special teams at the end, when you look at it, better have been superior to theirs. Your defense better have never stopped, and your offense better have taken advantage of every opportunity and not made mistakes.